Good morning, or whatever time it is when you're watching this, when you're seeing this, whatever time zone you're in. I hope everybody's having a good day. This is going to be my thoughts on the season finale, episode 8 of Alien Earth. It is Friday now. Episode came out on Tuesday. I did watch it on Tuesday. And then on the past 2 days, I've been doing other YouTube videos. And so I'm not so mad that I procrastinated on this week because I was actually getting at least some stuff done on on I'm sorry, I just got a text message popped up on the screen and distracted me. I did get stuff done in the house and some other YouTube videos done. So it's not as fresh in my mind, but I was a little concerned because I'm like, maybe I didn't uh maybe I missed something. So I've seen people saying it was the worst. I didn't actually watch those videos yet because I didn't want to skew my own opinions before I saw the video, before I made my review. I will be watching other people's reviews after to see, and my review of episode 7, I saw people rated episode 7 way less than I did, or uh, what did I say? I gave that a high rating. I don't remember. Maybe I gave it a 10. And I was between 9 and 10. Now I'm thinking I should have probably gave it a 9. But then I'm looking at the other reviews of that episode, and people are talking about plot holes, and it's like, you're probably wondering, like, how can't you notice? But like, I do usually notice plot holes, you know. Um, and I did notice those plot holes, but by the time I was filming a video, I forgot about them because I usually forget about the plot holes um while I'm watching the episode, so that I can enjoy it. Because if I'm thinking about the plot holes, it's gonna lessen my enjoyment of the episode. Which is that what happened to the other reviewers. So I can't be mad like, oh, you guys are rating it too low. No, you focused on the plot holes, you remembered them, and if I would have liked the episode less if I was thinking about the plot holes too. Um, but my suspension of disbelief was stronger at the time, so I was able to. Now, I don't remember the particular plot holes now. It's been like a whole nother week, but I did notice the plot holes. Oh, no, the one glaring plot hole that I didn't mention that I should have mentioned, and everyone is right for mentioning it, that definitely I wasn't able to forget while watching it. I just forgot while reviewing it, was them not be it taking 2 cents to carry Adam when they could lift him up with a pinky finger and carry him out. And while I was watching that, like, that made me so mad. It's like, do you even care about what you're making? It's like Superman comes and asks Batman, "Oh, can you help me carry this?" Superman doesn't ask anybody to help him carry anything. He's Superman. These are super powered robots. No, they're not as strong as Superman or any superhero, but it appears they can lift at least 900, 1,000 pounds, lift a half a ton with ease, probably more. And this guy's like 186 pounds, and he's like, "Yo, you get his legs, I'll get his shoulders. I'll grab him by, like, what? That doesn't make any sense. Like, each of you could carry 10 of him. So that was dumb. And but in my thought, the way I had the head canon was they were scared. He was scared to carry him alone. Because he might have thought that might have been suspicious once, and maybe carrying him with another synth, the people might think, oh, Boy Cavalier told them to do that. He's got 2 simps working on this, whatever he's doing, taking this guy to the cell or something. Whatever the people thought they were doing, which people didn't really see them. But that's the only way I was just like, Smithy must have been afraid to carry him alone because he was physically capable of it. So that's my reference to my last review where, but I don't know if I would take a whole point off for that. But then it's like, how do you not take a point off for not understanding the characters you created? That's the problem that I have with these shows with different directors. You see it with everything. Thing about comic books, they always have different writers, and there's some writers that might forget a certain character's abilities and blah blah blah. But comic books have been around. Some characters have been around 75 years. Yeah, you're gonna forget that he had this one ability in one comic in 1967, and nobody else even used that ability maybe 3 times in the decades since then. Okay, that's okay to forget. But in 8 episodes, forgetting the main ability, that'd be like forgetting Superman can fly. No, come on now. No, we don't expect that anytime Superman has an issue, he's gonna rewind time like he did in the movie. I don't know which movie it was, Superman 2 or whatever. He's gonna fly around the earth and rewind time. He doesn't have to ever do that again. But even still, fans of Superman, sometimes when they say like they're reviewing some Superman thing, they're like, he could have just rewound time. Like, yeah, we understand that he just did that once now. Yes, we understand that that's something that he could have did again, but it was also like, how canon was that? That could have just been some one writer one, and then all the other writers agreed that he shouldn't have that ability. Or Superman realizes, hey, you don't want to go back in time. You see what happens when Flash messes with the timeline, ruins people's lives. So, in terms of that, that's 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 understandable, you know. And when people are writing things, you have to make some compromises sometimes, or even people might forget. If you've been writing a character for years, you didn't realize that this them giving them this ability was going to cause problems for you later, so you just disregard the ability. But come on, they got super strength, basic. They don't need help carrying a 186-pound guy, or 200-pound, 300-pound, 400-pound guy. It doesn't matter. They can lift like 2,000 pounds. But anyway, so $6 billion machine can't lift 186 pounds. You know what I mean? Come on. But on to the finale, which I'm gonna have to try to remember. Maybe I'll stop right here and rewatch it, but I don't think so. I think I'm gonna just wing it. You know. Overall, I liked the episode. People hated it. People who are bigger Alien fans than me. I don't know the lore like that, like the back of my hands. I was more interested in the Predator movies, and I was growing up. These movies were out way before I was born, so the original Alien movie and stuff like that. So after seeing movies like Alien and versus Predator when I was growing up, then as a teenager I went back and watched all those movies, but I was not like deep into the lore, just watching for fun. That being said, I can understand if people who are deep into the lore are like, what the heck is this? Because it doesn't line up with, in the first Alien movies, everybody didn't know aliens existed. That the xenomorphs existed, So they're like, people are saying this is a huge plot hole. How can all these people be finding out about xenomorphs? It's not really that big of a plot hole, because apparently that island damn near empty all the time. They sent 5 ships to take it over. They almost took it over with like 32 guys before the backup arrived. If they didn't get caught slipping, if they didn't fall into a trap, they probably could have won a shootout with those guys. If there was 32 guys, they're surrounded by like 60 guys, but like, numbers don't matter that much once you bring out guns. So it's not like they would be in ancient warfare with swords and shields. You know, each guy shoots one guy, not with a level playing field. Um. Anyway, so the episode starts off with everyone in prison cells, and someone is describing to Boy Cavalier the situation on the island. They lost the adult xenomorph. They don't know where the face hugger went. They don't know that the face hugger already infected the guy. I think his name might have been Adam, and so they don't know that that's becoming a xenomorph, growing as a xenomorph now. Um, the Sims are in one cell, and Joe Joe and Merrick are in the other cell, or Merrill. No, I'm getting stuff mixed up. I have not slept much this week. Um, and they were in the other cell. You know, they're talking. He's like, "Oh, you shot me." He's like, "I saved you." You know, because he's like, you know, he hit him non-lethally. He's like, "The guys put me would have like put you in the grave." You know what I mean? So he's like, "I saved you." Um, and technically he did, because you know that didn't allow Nibs, or you know, because Nibs was getting angry. Then the Simps are in their cell and arguing. They did point out that they were like, tell Boy Cavalier that cell wasn't made for Simps. We don't know how long it could hold them. Man, apparently it could hold Smithy and Smee forever. You know what I mean? Because they apparently didn't get the strength upgrade. You know, they're all sitting in the cell. First of all, the rest of the Sims don't know what Smithy and Smee did, and they do not tell them what they did. They're like, we don't even know. They say it multiple times, like waiting for them to. They don't act like tell. They don't say tell us what you did, but they're like, uh, what was her name? Jane was like, that's her original name, not her synth name, but she starts using her original name in the episode. She's like, because they're accusing her, Nibs and Nibs and Marcy are accusing her of snitching. And she's like, I didn't tell anybody. And Nibs like, you had to. You're the only person who knew and wasn't also trying to escape. Everybody else was trying to escape. And they're like, we don't even know what you guys were doing to Smithy and Smee. And they're like, we ain't telling you. I ain't gonna know. And it's funny because they didn't. Marth, that was a plot hole in the other episode that I did notice. I didn't take into account in my review that Marcy's like, we can't leave anyone behind, and completely doesn't even look for Smithy and Smee. Not on screen, possibly off screen. They looked, they weren't able to find them, and they were like, we can't, you, we can't, we can't wait any longer. We'll all get caught. And that would have been, that fits perfectly, because looking for Smithy and Smee, they wouldn't have found them, because they were sneaking out of the base to sneak to the island to bring Adam to the Yutani soldiers. And Marrow, you know. So they wouldn't have found them, but it wouldn't have took 30 seconds to show that they at least looked, because it appears to be a plot hole, which I don't think it is, honestly. I think it's a plot hole because maybe they deleted the scene, but they didn't say in this episode, they don't say, we looked for you, couldn't find you. They're just like, we don't even know where you were. What were you? And they say it twice. It gets brought up, and then the conversation gets changed, and then Jane's like, what did you guys do again? And it's just like, you know. So Boy Cavalier comes to talk to the Sims. Now he after hearing what everything happens, he gets upset, and he's about to free the eye creature and feed him his security guard to the eye creature. But then he's like, no, go. He tells him, oh, go get what's his name? I don't know. At first, I thought he told him to get the first synth that he made, and I think he actually did. Um, but so the guy security guard leaves, and not Joe, Boy Cavalier is just like, I think I'll feed you someone weaker just in case, because he's like, man, that security guard will whoop my ass, so I don't want you taking control of his body. I'm gonna let you take control of somebody weaker just in case. I'm not trying to get bodied in here. So he sends them away. Now, Boy Cavalier goes down to talk to the Sims. They're like, blah, 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 you don't own us. And they're like, yes, we do. So he's like, yes, I do. And it's like he forgot. I guess he thought, oh, Marcy could just change the cameras. He didn't realize, nah, she controls your entire facility, which is, on the same network. She's in the network. She could control every mechanical thing on your island. He didn't think that. I guess he thought she just could talk to the aliens and control the cameras. Sometimes hacking to the cameras. No, she controls everything in electronics. Opens the door to the cell while he's standing right there, and he's scared, but he doesn't show his fear. Kind of like that, you know what I mean? Like as a character trait that he knows. Last thing you're gonna want to do is show fear, even though they know you're afraid. Everybody know you're afraid because they know they could rip you in half. Besides Sam and Smithy, they'll one will grab one half, the other will grab one half, but the rest of the girls can rip them in half. They don't need assistance to carry a guy, you know. So he just talks to them. I think it's Nibs kills the security guard, Boy Cavalier, and she's like, run. And he goes off running, It becomes apparent that Marcy, she's really not liking humans. And when at the end of the episodes, when they're like, what now? And she's like, now we take over. And Joe's just like, I don't know if this is a good thing. I'm not sure Joe believes she's still his sister. I'm sure now Joe's on the side of, they didn't really put those kids' souls into these machines. They put their memories. Now they're just machines that think they really were those kids, but they weren't. They just remember everything. So it's as if they were them. But those kids are dead like they think they are. Jane thinks she's alive. Jane thinks she's alive. Like Jane, not, of course she's alive, but Jane thinks that she is the original Jane. Marcy absolutely does not. Nibs is more towards the does not side. And Smithy and Smith, you don't see. Smithy and Smith, you don't see how they feel about whether or not they are really themselves, But he separates them. He sends Marcy is the leader, and I think Jane likes Marcy now because Jane is named Jane and blah blah. So she's like, I'm supposed to be the favorite because that's what Jane says. Jane keeps saying I'm his favorite, blah blah. And when Boy Cavalier gets mad, she gets pissed. Comes there, she gets pissed because she was like, I'm supposed to be your favorite, and she's like, you said I was your favorite. He's like, did I? That doesn't sound like me, And so that pisses her off. And at first I thought she was gonna go at Wendy for Wendy saying you're not his favorite and this and that. Because she repeatedly repeats, I shouldn't be in the cell with y'all because I'm his favorite and I didn't do anything. I didn't try to escape. I didn't do whatever you two did. And they're just like, stop bringing up what we did, And she just doesn't. She comes around when she says, because she's like, I'm Jane, and Jane is like Peter Pan's favorite, and Wendy's like Marcy, who he renamed Wendy. He's like, Jane wasn't his favorite. Wendy was his favorite, but she grew up. So Peter Pan kidnapped her daughter, Jane. And so now that brings some, like, a connection between the two of them. Of course, Jane doesn't see her as her mother, but they have a connection now, and there's no more beef between them, apparently. So they split up. Marcy goes after Boy Cavalier. Smithy and Smee go after Marrow and man, is it Slightly? No, Slightly, and I keep messing these names up, and it's crazy because when I was watching it, I finally got everybody's names down, and I'm like, I'm gonna remember that for the review, and I don't remember now. But Marrow Oh my, I wish I could just remember his name. Marrow goes against the synth in the laboratory. The synth wins the fight, but gets his back broken. Smithy and Smee, or Slightly and Smee, get in there, and he's like telling them, "Where were you guys? Tie him up." And they tie him up. And they're like, "Your time is over. It's ours now." Like they're saying it's a changing of the guard. Y'all are out. We are in. You know. So they do that. They take take them. Joe goes into his room for some reason. I don't know what. As also. Oh, okay. So before the fight between them, of course, he was in the cage. The last thing I said, him and Joe escape because Marcy unlocks the cage, and then they lure the guard to the door. Then boom, hit him with the door, beat him up, and then Joe Marrow's like, "Yo, you better save everybody because if you want to save," he's like, "I'm gonna save everyone I can." Joe's like, "I'm gonna save everyone I can." Marrow's like, "You better go for the kids first. Go save your sister and them. I'm burning this place to the ground." You know. We also saw a part where Marcy's looking at Joe in the camera. He's like, "Yo, we gotta save him." Blah blah blah. Like, how do you? She's not saying that. Smee comes up and he's like, "How do you feel?" and this and that, and she's just like, he tried to he shot Nibs, and he was like, I think he said, "Oh, he was saving his friends," or and she's like, "He picked them over us." Smee's just like, "But he's one of us," and walks away. It's like, yeah, those are his friends. He didn't pick them over us. He's on our side, but he doesn't want his kids to get not his kids, his friends to get murdered right in front of him. He was literally just trying to de-escalate the situation. And Nibs was out here crushing his friends' faces, right? Like I'm talking about bursting faces, grabbing bursting faces right in front of him. He's like, nah, like those are my friends. And he didn't shoot her fatally. It was a non-lethal stun. So that's when she opens. She decides. He talks after hearing me say that. She opens the door, and then that's when they get out. Boom. Joe ends up going to his room. After Joe, no, somehow Joe ends up in Boy Cavalier's room, and the eye creature is free. Oh yeah, because the scent. He approaches Joe, the first scent, the one we didn't even know he was a simp the whole time. We thought he was like a security guard or maybe even Boy Cavalier's dad. Found out in this episode that Boy Cavalier created this scent to kill his dad. And that he used this scent as a proxy for him because they were like, they're not going to let a 6-year-old run a $1 trillion company. He started this trade. They're not going to let him start a $1 trillion company. He started with his brain and his intelligence making the technology he made, but they wouldn't have accepted it from a child. So he used this thing as a proxy in the beginning. So, because he was 6 years old. So, that synth approaches Joe. He's like, "Oh, Boy Cavalier wants to talk to you." He takes him to his office. Boy Cavalier's not in there, in the cage with the eye creatures open. Joe gets attacked by the eye creature. Marcy saves him, and the eye creature escapes. And then Boy Cavalier's running. He's trying to get to his ship to evacuate. Some other scenes I skipped. The psychiatrist, before she got captured, she gets saved. She's about to get eaten by the alien. And Nibs didn't kill her. When she gets saved, gets sent back to her office, that's where Nibs finds her. She doesn't kill her, she captures her. So by the end of the episode, the eye creature escapes, crawls into Adam's body. That's going to be something for next season. He could reanimate even dead bodies. So now we know that. Besides that, all the adults end up in cages. That's how you know the island is empty. There's 6 people in prison. They didn't have to put all the security guards. They're not worried about Boy Cavalier's army. apparently they all got taken out by the Xenomorph and the Yutani people, but we only seen like maybe 100 soldiers. We really didn't see 100 soldiers, but like you can imply like they didn't send them all. So we saw like 60, maybe they have 40 more in reserve waiting inside, you know. But Yutani comes with 5 ships. She thinks that's enough, at the end of the episode. So I was hoping we were gonna see how do they speak to Yutani? What's going on? Are they gonna go to war with her? Now I haven't watched the other people's reviews because so far none of that really seemed bad to me. Although there was something that happened when I was watching, I was like, I don't know if they should do it that way, but I can't remember right now. This is why I got for the next. I used to take notes. I didn't take notes on this when while watching this series. I probably should for the next one, so that I could remember more each time I review. Because this one I was planning on just doing the reviews right after. That happened for some episodes, didn't happen for most though. Anyway, that's what Marcy says. We're taking over. Now the psychiatrist, she gives this face like she's happy. Like she's glad they're taking over. Also, I don't think she knows her husband is dead yet. And I don't think she cares. He got fired. She didn't even say goodbye. She didn't even say goodbye to her husband. She thinks he got like deported to another island. He's on the other side of the earth. Maybe she didn't even try to call him, hey babe. Nothing, She hasn't mentioned him since he left. Which I guess like people like people might be right about saying, oh, they added that relationship in post, like they weren't supposed to be dating, because at no time do they act like they're dating during the whole season. Not even dating, married. They definitely don't act like they act like they barely know each other. Like they just been working together. Not barely, like they act like they've been people that have been working together for a few years, not people that's married. Like come on. So now at the end we see that the Simps take over. Now people were thinking they all gotta get destroyed. People didn't know if there was gonna be another season. Now it has to be. People thought it might get wrapped up. So all the hybrids have to get destroyed because there's no mention of hybrids in the later Alien movies, which means they aren't hybrids in the later Alien around. Because why would they be using Simps instead of hybrids unless hybrids can't be controlled, or that's why they don't show them. They don't send them on missions or whatever. Who knows? But it could be that there's only 6 hybrids. The person who knows how to make them is captured and might end up dead, and they get destroyed, and then that's why they don't do hybrids again, because they figure out. Or I just thought of this. Maybe they don't call them hybrids in the future because they're just Simps. Because they weren't actually half human. They just have human memories uploaded into them. So in the future they might just be like, these are just Simps. Also, it was a top secret, so maybe they don't tell you, Tani, that they're Simps. That they're no, she will know they're Simps because their strength and all of that, but that they are human. Were human, because remember, Marrow didn't know until they kept talking about their parents, and they're like, "What are you talking about? Robots don't have parents." And they're like, "Oh yeah, my bad. That was a mistake. We didn't mean to say that," type thing, you know. And it's like, no, the real issue is you got parents. So if nobody tells, because they don't have any organic matter, if nobody tells, then people might never know that they were hybrids. And that could be an easy way that they never talk about them because they didn't know about them. They're still there, but people don't know they exist because either they didn't tell, or it turns out that they're just Simps. Like they were saying, did we really put the souls of these 6 kids into robots, or did we just kill 6 kids and put their memories into robots? If it's the latter, then they aren't hybrids. They're just Simps with uploaded digital memories. So I think that's why it's gotten so low, such low scores. I'll give it a for an episode. Now I'm gonna have to like I said, I always I never know what the score. I know how I feel, but I never know what to give the score. So okay, it's not a 10. Wasn't perfect. Was it great? The saddest. Well, no. Boy Cavalier didn't die, so I gotta take a point off for that. And I'm still not even got the score yet. So it's definitely not. I'm gonna have to give it a 7. I feel like 6. They say 6 is average. The thing about me saying something is average is like, is average good to you? Because just because something is average, that doesn't mean it's good. You know what I mean? Because the average, like you could be like, I'm trying to think of an example right now, but I'm drawing a blank. But like it should be obvious. The average, like if the average person on your high school basketball team is 5'9", that doesn't mean that that's the ideal height for a basketball player. You get what I'm saying? Like just because what I'm trying to say is the average show isn't that good to me. So if I feel like something is good but not that good, then I feel like I have to give it an above average score. That's the issue that I always have with uh, giving things a rating, because average doesn't mean good to me. Always, you know what I mean? And in some cases, it's a case by case thing. Um, so I'm gonna go ahead and have to give it the good old IGN 7, right? IGN 7. It's better than average because it's an IP that I enjoy more than the average IP. Put it like that. If it was a different IP with the same quality, it would get a lower score. But because the IP itself is a better IP to me, then it gets a higher score. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, this is just an average Ferrari, but Ferrari's better than an average car. So if you're rating it against all other cars, then it's got to be above average. You get what I'm saying? The average Ferrari is much faster than the average car. So in terms of speed, Ferrari is way above average. Luxury, that could be here or there, because if you got one specifically set up for a track, it's not going to be luxurious, not going to have plush leather and stuff like that. You need to have as little weight as possible. It's not going to have a radio, may not even have AC. Some, like if you really, really track focus, might not even have a window you could roll down. So it's not, it'll be below average luxury, above average speed if we're talking about a track focused Ferrari. So I'll 7, because like also I didn't feel that there was many plot holes in this episode. It could just be like that. Once again, I'm forgetting the plot holes. But also you have the action in this episode. We finally got to see the plant alien, and I like that. That was good acting. When that lady is getting eaten by the plant alien, her friend is looking at her. He's like, oh no, and he's angry. But he acted it perfectly. His facial expressions, because you see, he's like, I want to do something. I want to kill this plant, but I can't because she's inside of it. So if I shoot the plant, the bullet's gonna go through. It's gonna kill her. So I'm gonna be the one who kills her if I try to kill that plant. So there's nothing he could do but just watch in horror. First of all, I wouldn't have even been doing that. I'd have been like, we were here for search and rescue. You just added us to this team, and now we're doing the most dangerous things. The rest of the soldiers are just all like they all went to go after those you tiny guys and blah blah blah. And then after they caught them, I guess that they just went on break or something. Because why they got four soldiers that were trained in search and rescue. They're not like top tier to the special forces. They're just search and rescue. Clearing the lab of dangerous alien species that if they get out, they could cause serious problems for the entire Earth. It's like, now we're gonna send these three search and rescue guys, barely any combat training. Like, they got the basic training and all of that, but they haven't been in battles or nothing. Hardened troops, you guys take lunch. These 4 are gonna handle the alien contamination. 4? You got hundreds of soldiers. Well, no, 100 soldiers. Why I said 4, said 50. Lab's kind of small. Send 20. Leave the rest outside the door ready to run in once the aliens start decimating shit. No, they didn't want to do that. They sent 4 guys. 3 guys and 1 woman. I don't remember. They don't focus the camera on the other 2 that much. You see the black woman and the white guy, and you don't really see the rest of them that much. So I don't even know if the other 2, if it's 3 guys or 2 and 2. Yeah, I don't even know. But I do know they sent 4 people. He's like, this place is dangerous. Watch your back. I'm like, this place is dangerous. Lock the door and don't go in there. Like, I'm not like, are we supposed to be search or rescue? Find the people. They're supposed to be looking for Boy Cavalier. But whatever. I thought it was a good episode. I don't know how they're gonna line it up with Alien, but I think the idea that I had is the best idea. That they say they don't use the term hybrids in the future because it turns out that they weren't really hybrids. Or they were really hybrids, but they never want to make more hybrids again because hybrids turned on them. So they're like, hybrids never again. And that's why there's not hybrids in the future. And maybe these hybrids went to another planet, went to another island on Earth where nobody, because there's only 5 corporations that know. So each corporation has its own spot, own place. So there's probably a lot of room on Earth somewhere where those 5 could just hang out and nobody sees or hears from them again. And I think that might be how they retcon the fact that there's no hybrids in the past movies, which technically take place chronologically in the future of the universe that they're in. So yeah, that's how I feel about that. Hope you guys enjoyed the series. If you don't, you can let me know why in the comments. Do I have more videos planned for today? I might. But everybody, you have a good life, be kind to people. Be kind to everyone you meet. Love the people you love. Let them know you love them, and have a good life until we meet again.